Hello, lovelies. Today is Wednesday, January the 18th, and an auspicious day in the starry skies. I'm going to start with the Mayan code for today. We are on Red Spectral Serpent. So interesting to go into more depth on a personal level when you're getting into the last 20 days. So Red Serpent is a 52-day castle, very powerful one because it's here in the blue castle of transformation and has 10 Akashic days, taking us into the centre of the Zolkin. So I can't remember off the top of my head what date that was, but I'll post it under the video. I'll look it up. And so going back to that time when we're in the centre is key to understand what our ancestor story is and how to transmute it. And today, really focusing on what we need to let go of. The asteroid belt is linked to Red Serpent, and Red Serpent is the 5th Mayan sign. It's the overtone, it's the mastery, it's all about Kundalini in the body. The body does not lie, even though our reptilian brain, which is what Red Serpent is about as well, can lie to help us survive, will often put us into denial so that we don't feel deep feelings that if we did connect to them, may push us into a depression. So it's a survival mechanism. Once we start to really work on another level using techniques, tools that help us feel all our emotions and release them, then we play a different game of life. So today is really about mastery of this process in Blue Eagle. It's about how we let go of situations in relationships that don't serve us, that cause harm for us, and in particular, focusing on bringing that arena to light, which isn't always easy because often it's what we don't know, and we don't know what we don't know. But we do know what triggers us, and we do know the next step always, because the universe is always bringing that for us to look at. Remember, we are a lens of the universal light, and we're projecting an image through our filter, our belief systems, our energetic wiring, our Kundalini, our chi, which runs through our fascia in our body, which is why it's so important to keep your body moving and have body work. That's very good for unlocking where you feel pain in your body. This is stuck energy. And if this isn't released, then it goes on to create disease. So massages are absolutely great. Qigong work, any sort of energy work. And acupressure points, acupuncture. And most importantly, though, is understanding that this is the emotional evolution that we're in. So it's understanding what creates emotional harm for us, because this underpins everything. So our triggers, our emotional triggers, where we feel fear, where we feel panic, where we feel pain, instead of going to a coping mechanism, numbing out, avoiding it, we can come into a place of actually seeing that that is the solution as we move towards the Aquarius age and this new moon in Aquarius that's coming up on Saturday. Still got a couple of places on my workshop. So if you'd like to join me, please get in touch in the next couple of days, because I need to do your code for you. and just been having amazing discoveries doing the code for the people who are already attending. I always learn so much doing these workshops. So today in the starry skies, what's happening? Well, we've got Mercury is going direct at 8 degrees of Capricorn. So where is that in your chart? That's a really good place to start understanding your cosmic code. And when Mercury goes direct, the energy shifts palpably. You can really feel that. As we've been going back over old ground about what we understand about, for example, work, being disciplined, patriarchy, communication, about those things. We've also got Sun is conjunct Pluto today at 28 degrees. And what does that mean? So the Sun is in Capricorn, it's coming up to late degrees, and Pluto itself is coming up to the end of its term, which I think it began around 2009, around that date, which if you look at what was happening then, historically, the bank crash and everything that's coming up now around similar patterns, where they're talking about recessions, etc. And so this, again, is a significant pattern. Also, Jupiter in Aries, which was, again, around that time of 2011, actually, that time. And then we'll be going Jupiter into Taurus later on in the year. And that's around 2012. So once you start to understand more about these patterns, you can see what was happening for you in your own personal life, because that's the focus point. We're here to focus on ourselves and get clear about what is looking to be released today, specifically around how we relate to ourselves, and then how we've been related to by other people that's created our belief system. So how we may have limiting beliefs, inherited beliefs, cultural beliefs that are no longer serving us around this imbalance of power. So Sun conjunct Pluto only happens once a year, and so it happens at this time every year. And so that means something's going to come to light for you personally around your Pluto story. Now, Pluto is very powerful energy. It's about what needs to die so that we can live. And going into the Aquarius age, Pluto going into Aquarius is very powerful energy. So Aquarius is the cup holder of the god and goddess. It's solution focused, empty our cup so it can be refilled. So in emotional terms, release these old triggers, release these old behaviors, belief systems, and become solution focused. So stepping out of what's often called victim mode. I prefer to call it being immature, being a child, being stuck in immature, unhelpful ways of being that, again, we have grown up with, we've had in society, generally speaking, created to disempower and keep people in a lower place in order to serve a system. So this is a sticky subject and often difficult to navigate as you're coming out the other side. Using powerful frameworks like this and emotional freedom technique can really help us understand what's going on and take our power back, because this often is an energy hijack. We're seeing that happening on the world stage now with the power play we're losing power, we're getting a circuit breaker going on within our own energy system. We're getting stopped, we're getting our pattern interrupted. And so just recognizing all of that and then coming into healing with that. So Pluto going into the last degree, the anaretic degree of Capricorn, 29 degrees. Check that out. Google that anaretic degree, what it means. It means different things to different people. But in terms of a soul shift, it can mean becoming very disciplined about doing these steps, for example, becoming very aware of how we are participating in this structure of patriarchy that's very unhelpful, how we step into our father energy and parent ourselves, so how we come into stronger, healthy masculine, for example. So there's going to be, as I mentioned in my other videos, there's going to be a bit of a push-pull dynamic going on for us, showing us where we've got these issues from childhood and ancestrally. Going back to New Year's Eve, when Venus was conjunct Pluto, you can go back to that time. What was happening for you then? So where are you now in terms of all of this dynamic? What's happening for you now in terms of personal power, the structure in the wider world? And where do you want to be? That's the key thing. Where do you want to be? Where are you heading for? What are your dreams? On the 13th day, just before we go into the new moon, and the final yellow star, where are we? There. Capricorn's going to be at 29 degrees then in the sun. So that's a great day to set an intention and really focus, meditate, journey, do whatever you do to connect to your higher self. Look at what's been happening over this entire period. In particular, narrow it down into what's been happening over this last Blue Eagle. Who are you as a planetary server? What's your stuff that you need to shift in order to shape your destiny? And so again, if you start to know what your particular years are, so this was my birthday in 2021, and it was the end of a 13-year cycle. And so taking stock of that and seeing, you know, what I have been going through. And again, I went to a really nice sermon the other day at the local spiritualist church, and there was such a nice reading lecture about how we often set ourselves goals that we can't achieve, and then we end up feeling disappointed. And so to be gentle with ourselves, to be easy with ourselves, and also to recognize as well that we've come so far in this lifetime. Sometimes it's easy to forget and be critical of where we've been and what we've done. And our ego can be a tyrant, a petty tyrant at times, to use Carlos Castaneda terms, a petty tyrant. So wherever you've got that petty tyrant going on your inner talk, another term is itty bitty shitty committee. We've learned that somewhere. We've learned that from someone, several someones. So just to really focus on letting that go as well, moving into ease, letting go of striving, coming into a gentler place. Because remember, what you do every day impacts on the next day, and so on and so on. So if you're like a hamster on a wheel, then how is that going to create peace? We want to get off that karmic wheel that causes strife. Have I got anything else to say? Well, we're in the last throes of Capricorn, so we're going into Aquarius. Absolutely love this time of year. And the new moon at 1 degree, which goes right through, I think it's 5 moons. Again, look at where 1 degree is in your chart. It's initiating now. It's a big aha moment. And all the planets going direct as well after the new moon, shortly afterwards, which is a pretty rare event. So time to be getting yourself in a place really of thinking, what are my dreams? What am I going to be doing this year? What's heartfelt? What's lovely? So today we've got always a really powerful one. And I always see that that's the chart. That's the natal chart with the AC/DC and the IC/MC. So the ascendant, the descendant, and the stairway to heaven. Where am I now? What's my highest potentiality? Let's make that happen. So as we make this happen on an individual level, we make this happen on a global level. It's an inside job. So I've got several cards today. So we've got the Princess of Swords. So this can be mindset when you're a young person, and there's some fabulous stuff in there that often gets forgotten about as we get older. We forget about how fun we were as a younger person without all the obligations of maturity. So it's getting back to that space, mindsets, but also the sword of truth, getting clear. So we've got that Mercury going forward now. We've got the Prince of Swords. So again, we can see these two as a masculine and feminine, coming into balance with these. And these have specific energies for different parts of the zodiac, which I can't remember off the top of my head, but you can Google these on Thoth. We have the Six of Cups, pleasure, what creates pleasure, that's healthy pleasure as well, healthy pleasure, not a distraction, not an addiction, just being out in nature, for example, and connecting to the earth. Sun's back today. It's been raining really hard here, and so it's lovely to see the sun back. And the Two of Cups, love, beautiful card. How do we feel loved? Do we need something else to feel that? Can we connect to source and feel that? How do we know when we're not feeling that? All good information for the alchemist. And major arcana again, we've got the Hermit again, going within to go to the next level. So day 11s are always a great day, to use the analogy of we built a sandcastle on the beach and then the tide comes in and sweeps it away. If we can be free to be the adventurer with the backpack, carrying minimum luggage, baggage, off on a journey, to be here in the world. That's why we came here, really. Enjoy it. And at this challenging time, to birth the new earth, bring the starseed. So I hope you have an amazing day and you start to really connect to what's coming next, start to download it. We've got all the information that we need, ready to go into the next phase. Lots of love. Bye for now.